Hi everybody, this is a backgammon board and I'm going to be teaching you how to play backgammon. So just a couple quick things before we begin. On the board, these are called points, these triangles that you see right here. And as you move your checkers, you can only land in a point. The objective of the game, I'm the white player and my husband is the black player, so my chips are scattered here and his chips are here. And my goal is to get all of my checkers into my home area. As soon as I get them into my home area, then by rolling, I can start to remove them. At the same time, my husband's main goal is to get them into his home area, which is over here. And as soon as he gets all his pieces in, then he can start to remove them by rolling the dice. I will be moving my checkers in this direction, and he'll be moving his checkers in that direction.
What's the overall objective of the game, Alana?
The overall objective is to be the first person to get your guys out. So it's essentially a race. How you get there, there's different strategies, and depending on what you roll will determine on how you can. So to begin with, each player starts with one die. So we're each gonna roll our die. This is not a good roll. But since I rolled the higher of the two, I have to take this roll. You can't decline, you can't pass if you don't like the roll. You just have to go with it. So typically when you're looking at your options, you don't want to leave a man uncovered. And what that means is, so if I were going to go 1, 2, I would be leaving a man uncovered. That means my husband could technically roll, land on my checker, and then I would be out and I would have to start again from the beginning. So this is not an ideal roll. Mostly because I can't cover myself. So when you move, you can move a 2 and a 1. So you can either move 2 checkers, or you can move the same checker, a 2 and a 1. So probably the best bet here is to move my 2 checkers over here. I know they're gonna be uncovered, 1, 2, and 1. But at this point, there's not much risk in moving them, and it's the best option out of all my pieces here. So my turn is over, and now my husband's gonna go. So his roll was much better than mine. He has a 5 and a 4. So he has decided to go 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now he's also got a 4. So he needs to determine what his best options are. This was a good move because by putting his 5 here, his checker over here, he's covered. So nobody will land on him. 4, all right, so he's decided to move there because there's not much risk. I have a 1 and a 6. So a 1 and a 6 is great. This is my first line of defense. So I want to prevent my husband from moving his checkers out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this one 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then my 1. And what this does is all of a sudden it creates a block so that it makes it more difficult for these 2 checkers to get out of this quadrant or this area. All right, so he actually rolled the same roll as last time, but what that allows him to do is now cover himself. All right, once he picks up his die, then that signals to me that he's done with his turn. So you cannot roll before your opponent has picked up their dice. All right, so I'm going to a 4 and a 1. So I can either move here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and have this man covered. Or I can also try and move these guys, because remember, I've still got to move them around the board and get them into my home base. So sometimes it's just determining what the best option is. So I'm probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. All right, so I'm probably gonna stick with this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, just because I tend to play a little bit on the safe side. All right, so he now has a 3 and a 1. And again, that's a good move because he's creating a block for me and he's able to cover himself so that I can't land on his man. Checker. All right, a 5 and a 3. So I think I'm probably gonna try and get these guys out. So 1, 2, 3. Now I can't move this one a 3 because I have 2 guys here, so he's blocking me. But what I can do is try and move a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that slot is open. So I've used up the 5. Now I still need to use the 3. 1, 2, 3. And again, I can't move that there because it's being blocked. But I can move this one. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm gonna hope that he doesn't roll a 1, 2, 3 and land on my guy. If he lands on my checker, then I'll show you what a hit and re-enter looks like. So keep our fingers crossed. All right, he is not rolling a 3, so that's good for me. So that's really good because now he's creating a block and he's made it much more difficult for me to get out. Luckily, I've rolled a 3 and a 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, that's clear. 1, 2, 3. So I was really lucky because now I'm able to cover myself. And my guys are out. So my husband has now left a guy open. So let's see if I can land on something to get him. All right, so he left a guy open. So now I've rolled. I can land on his checker. So I'm gonna go 1, 2, because he only had 1 there. His checker goes up here. Now I don't wanna leave this open. Luckily with the way my board is set up, I can cover him. 1, 2, 3. When your man is hit, you have to start back in so for him, he would have to start back at the beginning. And he can only enter if he rolls a 1, 2, 3, 4. If he rolls a 5 or a 6, I have men that are blocking those areas, so he can't re-enter until he rolls one of these. All right, so he can come in by the 2, but he can't use the 6 to come in. But because he was able to come in using the 2, he can now move any of his other men. All right, so what I am going to do is I can either move this up here, or if I was really daring,
you have to explain doubles.
Oh, okay. You know what? Thank you for bringing that up. So when you roll a double, you get to move 4 times that number. So what that means is I can move 4 1s. You can do any combination to move those 4 1s.
It's not 4 times the number, it's just double what you have.
Right, so I can move 1, 1, that's 2 1s, 1, and 1. So I have chosen to create a block instead of cover my guy. And depending on what Greg rolls will determine whether that was a bad choice or a good choice.
You gotta essentially it looks, put your 1s down. That's what that represents.
Okay.
Not 4 times.
All right, so, okay. So as Greg showed, so by rolling doubles, it essentially means that you can move 4 1s. So it's 1, 1, 1, and 1.
It's just Not every double's 4.
All right, so luckily, this was a good choice. I've blocked him on the 2, so he can't move this guy 2. And then I'm also blocking him on the 6, so he can't move 6. So he has to leave this guy here, and now he's got to concentrate on his other guys. Okay, so I would love to cover this up. So what I'm going to do to make things a little more difficult for Greg is I'm going to move 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that covers up my spot. It also creates a really large block. This is a good defense. It makes it difficult for him to get out. Because remember, he can't start taking out his checkers until all of them have landed in here. So by blocking him in, I prevent him from essentially being able to win the game. So now I've also got a 1. You have to complete your roll. So 1. All right. Sometimes you don't want to take the rolls because you don't want to make the choices, but you don't always have, you have to do something. All right, so unfortunately, I can't go 1 because he's blocking me here. So then I would be stuck, and if he landed and got to roll the 1, I could get out. I don't want to leave a guy open. So the only way to really do that and not risk anything is to move his here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that way I eliminate possibly getting hit.
I can't move backward and get him.
Oh, okay, that's a good point. So what he's saying is you can only move forward. You can't ever move your checkers backward. Thank you. All right, so he's out. So I would love to be able to roll on something. The only problem is if I hit and I get him out, then he has to start at the beginning. But I've now got a checker open, which means if he lands on me, then I also have to start back at the beginning, and there's only 2 slots for me to enter into the game. So that's going to be a problem for me. All right, so this is now, I now have 4 1s to move. Now I can't move these because I'm being blocked here. So I can't move these a 1. So what I could do is, essentially, probably my best bet is to probably cover myself. So 1, 2, 3, 4. These guys 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so now it becomes a race of who's going to get their checkers. All right, 1, 2, 3, and 4.
And again, can I just move these out now? Or?
You cannot move those out. You have to wait till all of your checkers are in your home base before you can start to pull them out. All right, now we also have the doubling cube. All right, so this is closer to 2, so I'm gonna go 1, 2, and 1. dog, Batman. He thought he'd help out. So Greg has a clear advantage. He's still got one checker, so he's got to wait until everything is in before he can roll his checkers. He should be using the doubling cube. I know it's a lot of information, but essentially,
We were playing for a point.
we were playing for a point. Now he's asking me. Usually, he's going to increase the stakes. So because he has an advantage, he wants to know whether I'm going to accept it. It's been doubled to 2 for 2 points now. Increases the value of the game. Normally, I would say no, but for the sake of this example, I'm going to accept it. Now, what happens is I have control over the cube. So at this point, moving forward, if I feel like the game is not going well, I can either forfeit, in which case he would get the 1 point. I can accept, complete the game. Well, it's pretty much those two options. Or
no,
it can
swing.
or we can continue to increase it
If you get an advantage.
if I feel like there's an advantage and I'm winning. So it's my turn now. All right. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So Greg now has all his pieces in. And his next roll, he can start to take them out. I, however, cannot because I've got 4 pieces over here. So I have to wait unless I roll something fantastic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he has to pull out from the 5 slot.
It starts here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he's pulling out from the 5. That was the 6.
Oh.
All right.
So 4 and 5.
Well, so this is not great. 1, 2, and 1.
In the meantime, I'm going to continue to roll and take them out if I can.
Yes, you are.
6, 5, and a 1.
All right, so he's pulling out. So close. Thought I had double 6s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now I can start to pull out. So here.
That's the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Thank you.
Take another 6.
Take out a 6. All right, so here's my 6 spot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then here's my 4 spot. 1, 2, 3, 4. So close. My 6 spot and my 4 spot. All right, so again, I have 4 1s, essentially. I've rolled a lot of double 1s this game. All right, so 1, 1.
2,
So that's
2.
now I still have 2 more 1s left, so I'm gonna move these guys over. 1 and 1.
You might want to make sure it's
Yeah, that's straight.
Me too. 6, 4, 1, 4, 1.
All right, so I can pull out from the 4, but I don't have anybody in the 3 spot. So I have to move it, moving down. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so he's completed. He doesn't have any more checkers in the 6 spot. So when that happens, you can start to pull out from the 5 spot for the 6. But for the 3, he has to pull from the 3rd spot. All right, so this is the same as having 4 4s. All right, so I have 1 man in the 4 spot, so I can pull him out. Now that takes care of one of my 4s. Now I have 3 4s left. So I can only move these forward. I can't take them out. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've used up another 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's another 4, and I've got 1 4 left. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's my final 4. Oh no! So he's got the equivalent of, he rolled double 5, so that's not looking good for me. So he can pull out there. There's his first 5, second 5, third 5, and fourth, 5th 5.
Now, my next roll, what's going to happen?
So on the next roll, he's going to win because there's no possible combination that he can roll where he wouldn't be able to take all his final checker out.
You have too many. You can't roll double anything.
Yeah, even if I roll double 6, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would need at the minimum 2 turns with a lot of luck, even just to get my guys out. All right, well that was pretty awesome. A little earlier would have helped better, but all right, so I have 1 in the 3rd spot, so that's 1. Okay, now I'm gonna move this one. 1, 2, 3. That takes care of this. Then I'm gonna pull this guy out. 1, 2. I can pull this one out. 3. That's my second, and then I can move this one. 1, 2, 3. And that's all my guys. And Greg has won the game. So because we used the doubling cube and we increased the stakes of the game, he would get 2 points. And that's it. That is the game of backgammon. So again, my husband's crushed me.